senior officers from the three services, esteemed veterans, defense attaches from friendly foreign countries, members of think tanks, academia, industry, publication houses, friends from the media, officers, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ran Samvad. Conversations on War, its very first edition. General Devendra has already set the stage for what will follow for the next 2 days. What I will do is I'll try and explain the need for Ran Samvad, why we are holding this particular seminar. The idea for Ran Samvad was based on my observation and experience for the past almost 2 years, and it essentially stems from three major facts. First, I thought that the focus of the armed forces needs to be on war, warfare, and war fighting. We need to focus upon this important aspect. War, as a broader state of armed conflict, warfare refers to specific methods, tactics, and strategies used in conduct of war, and war fighting is the application of military tactics and technologies to achieve the objectives of warfare, of war, campaign, or a particular battle. It's a bread and butter. We normally dwell upon geopolitics, diplomacy, international relations, geoeconomics, and such subjects. These are important for national security. But I think these are also sometimes distractions and take us away from our real job. We must focus on a primary job. And it's been my attempt for the past almost 2 years to reshape this dominant narrative in the armed forces on the basic job of war fighting, and how this is going to happen in future. So this is one of the reasons. The second is, I think, the change which I wanted to bring about is the participation format. You must have noticed the lead speakers in all these seminars which we used to hold earlier used to be veteran officers, and the audience used to be serving officers. I wanted to reverse this trend. I wanted the senior veteran officers to be on the listening side, and people who are practitioners of warfare to be speaking about it. Not that we don't value the contribution of veterans. We value their contribution immensely. But the idea of Ran Samvad is to create space for actual practitioners, the young and the middle-level officers, and encourage them. Today's generation is much more aware about technological advancement, and technology influences tactics and even strategy. It's, I think, necessary to hear their point of view. We need symphony. We need some kind of an harmony between old and the new ideas which are tempered by experience of the veterans. Ran Samvad must encourage debate, for which free flow of ideas, debate and dialogue, I think, is a must. And here I like to quote Rig Veda, in which it is said, Ano Bhadra Kartava Yantu Vishvata. That means, let noble thoughts come from all directions, from all sides. Likewise, Ran Samvad, we expect ideas flowing irrespective of age, service, or experience. Let's discuss this important subject more freely. Third, I think the essential element as to why which I thought about holding this particular seminar and this particular format is to spread awareness about military matters. You're all aware that India has been a fountainhead of ideas and knowledge in the ancient times. However, when we look at contemporary times, we have a number of literature on military history, on the wars which are fought by us, but very little literature on scholarly analysis of these wars or academic discourse on strategy and operational art. In fact, if you look at today's op-ed page of Times of India, the center one, there's an article by General Vinay Shankar, former DG Artillery, and he speaks about missing in action, the Atmanirbharta of ideas. So that, I think, he's echoing my sentiment in this particular thing. It's very timely, actually it's in today's Times of India. So serious research needs to be done on all dimensions of war, that is about leadership, motivation, technology, tactics, strategy. This, I think, is important as India's stature grows. As a Viksit Bharat, we also need to be Shashakt, Surakshit, and Atmanirbharta. And Atmanirbhar, not only in technologies, but also in ideas and also in practice. Hence, there is a need to increase awareness on all segments of our society on doctrinal and conceptual aspects. That's the academic pursuits of how war is fought and practical and actual war fighting techniques and tactics. Well, for the foreign audience over here today, Ran means actually war, and Samvad is something to do with dialogue. The seminar combines dialogue and conversations with war and war fighting. If you look at our ancient times, this has been part of an ancient philosophy and tradition. We have always spoken about Shastra and Shastra in the same breath. They're never inseparable. They were actually the two blades of the same sword. Students in ancient times went to Gurukuls, a precursor to maybe modern-day Sainik schools, and they were exposed to combat skills as well as strategy and statecraft. Ran Samvad, in a way, is a continuation of that particular tradition, that a professional soldier must also be a scholar warrior. We know that combination of military strategy and warrior is essential to win. And the foremost and the best example of this is Mahabharata, actually, and Gita. We all are all aware that Arjuna was the greatest warrior of all times, actually. His battle skills were unmatched and legendary. Yet, he needed a Krishna to guide him towards victory. Krishna, he was the embodiment of worldly knowledge and wisdom. He's a master of statecraft and strategy, and both of them combined together, that's what actually Mahabharata was won. Similarly, we had Chandragupta, who needed the wisdom of Chanakya. And in Western side, if you look, even Alexander needed the wisdom of Aristotle. India has been a land of Gautam Buddha, Mahavir Jain, and Mahatma Gandhi, all champions of non-violence. We also have ancient scriptures about war. Mahabharata, the longest running epic ever written in the world, was about almost like a global war. It's about a just and righteous war. India has always stood on the side of peace. We are a peace-loving nation, but don't mistake, we cannot be pacifists. I think peace without power is utopian. And over here, I like to quote a Latin quote, which goes like this: "Si vis pacem para bellium," which translates, if you want peace, prepare for war. This is also aptly captured in the poem of Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, that's Shakti and Shaba, in which he says that Shama Shobhti us bhujan ko jiske paas garal ho, uska kya jo danthin vishrahit vineet saral ho. शहनशीलता दया शबा को तभी पूछता जग है, बल का दर्प चमकता जब उसके पीछे जगमग है. I think this is very important. As regard the theme of today's seminar for this inaugural session of Ran Samvad, we have impact of technology in warfare. In Arthashastra, Kautilya or Chanakya speaks about Shakti, Utsaha, and Yukti, that is strength, motivation, and strategy, as essentials for victory. Technology today actually enhances all these three, Shakti, Utsaha, as well as Yukti. In contemporary times, the impact of technology is multidimensional, outpacing the human ability to comprehend and anticipate. It is, as this is just a keynote address and there are full 2 days of things to follow, I will not be talking about technology. Much has been said actually, and the pace has been set by Devendra Sharma, GOCNC R-Track. Maybe I'll talk about my impressions of technology and how it's influencing warfare towards my concluding remarks. I hope this particular seminar, apart from technology, will also focus upon what kind of wars will happen in future, the background for this. And in my view, there are 4 essential trends which I foresee. Maybe we can debate upon this. First is, I think there is an increased propensity amongst nations and governments to use force, actually. And this happening because political objectives today can be achieved by short duration conflicts. The second thing is precision strikes can create very little collateral damage, and hence the cost of war for nations is less. So hence there is a propensity to use force. And then there exists a mechanism of escalation control. So escalation control as a term wasn't existing a couple of years back. So this is there, and hence there's an increasing propensity to use force for attainment of political objectives. The second trend which I see is lack of distinction between war and peace. This particular era, which we knew in the past of declared wars, I think that's all over. Contemporary warfare today is a kind of a continuum of 5 C's, which I call as competition, crisis, confrontation, conflict, and combat, combat beating war. The third important thing is, I think, importance of people. That is, a modern state, if you look at a modern state, it comprises of 3 essential elements. One is territory, then the ideology of the state, and lastly is the people who comprise that particular state. In the past wars, because of territory and ideology, people were sacrificed, soldiers were sacrificed on the altar of these particular two. But today, I think people have gained this importance, and you would have seen that in recent conflicts, that nations pay importance to people. Each and every single man is important. The fourth important trend I think we can debate is the matrices of victory. And how do we perceive victory? This also, I think, is changing. In the past, matrices of victory probably were defined by losses inflicted in terms of men and equipment on the adversary. It could be defined in terms of prisoners of war captured. In 1971, we had this 95,000 Pakistanis captured. We could be about loss of territory or gain of territory, or loss of strategic assets or of national symbols, like Queen Elizabeth in World War II, a big ship that are lost. But in today's warfare, probably the new matrices of warfare or victory are say, speed and tempo of operations. That could be one. Effects of long-range precision strikes, including PSDA. I think that their impact is getting more and more important. The impact is physical as well as psychological. And the third important matrix of victory, which I think is display of sophistication and superiority in all domains to the adversary. So that will lead you towards achievement of understanding of this particular victory. And maybe, even superior narrative actually. Since it's about notion of victory, then probably narrative building also becomes important. And it's the job of armed forces, I think, to create facts on ground. And it's based on these facts that narratives can be created. Second aspect, which I think we could discuss in this seminar, is about Sudharshan Chakra, India's own Iron Dome or Golden Dome. The Honorable Prime Minister had made a mention of this on 15th of August when he spoke about Sudharshan Chakra. That will enhance India's strategic defense. And he said that he expects it to be rolled out by 2035. Over here, I think the aim is to develop an readiness system to protect India's strategic, civilian, and nationally important sites. And it will act both as a shield as well as a sword. It will entail development of robust infrastructure and processes for detection, acquisition, neutralization of enemy's air vectors, including using soft skill and hard skill, both kinetic and directed energy weapons. In fact, 2 or 3 days back, you would have heard about DRDO testing a particular integrated system in which there were QR-SAMs, V-Sharods, and 5 kilowatt lasers, actually. They were all getting combined into one. We'll have to look at multi-domain ISR, integration of ground, air, maritime, undersea, space sensors, all becoming a key necessity and integrating them. A colossal amount of integration will be required as multiple fields will need to be networked to provide a very fused picture to us. Colossal amounts of data will be needed to be analyzed for information and real-time response, use of artificial intelligence, advanced computation, data analytics, big data, LLM, quantum technologies will be essential. For a vast country like this, like India, a project of this magnitude will require a whole of nation approach. But like always, I'm very sure Indians will do it at a minimal and a very affordable cost to us. When we talk about future warfare, I think sometimes there is a misapprehension in segments of the media that probably we have all assembled here to discuss about Operation Sindoor. Well, let me clarify this. Operation Sindoor was a modern conflict from which we learned a number of lessons, and most of them are under implementation. Some have been implemented. The operation is still on. We are not here to discuss Operation Sindoor. We are here to discuss something beyond Operation Sindoor. So we are about to discuss about future warfare. How will they happen? This kind of thing is being held in it's a kind of an academic debate, and it's agnostic of any kind of an adversary. Adversary could be anyone. And it can be taken as part of our understanding, part of our preparation for being prepared for future warfare. And over here, talking about preparation, I would like to quote again Benjamin Franklin, who famously said, "By failing to prepare, we are preparing to fail," and hence the need for Ran Samvad. As part of my concluding remarks, I would like to say that we are all in a race. All the militaries of the world are actually in a race. We are running a 400 meters on an athletic track, and the one who is running faster will lead tomorrow. But it's not only the race on one particular track. Actually, some of them who are running faster are jumping onto the next orbit. And we don't want to lag behind in the race in this particular orbit, and neither do we want to be away from orbit. We want to be there along with the advanced militaries of tomorrow. And we cannot afford to be left behind. So we have to be part of the third revolution in military affairs with modern militaries and developed nations. To win tomorrow's war, we need not one scholar warrior. Actually, we'll require hundreds of scholar warriors, and we don't need one Chandragupta, one Ashoka, or one Shivaji, hundreds of them. And there is no escaping that. Shastra and Shastra, they all have to be studied together. And toward the end, all that remains for me is to thank the Army, especially GOC&C RTRAC and Commandant Army War College for meticulous conceptualization of this seminar. I look forward to a meaningful discussion and a detailed report of the seminar. I'll be here for the next 2 days, formally and informally, to continue forward these discussions. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.